Assalamu alaikum, bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Today I'll be presenting to you um, a chapter of a book that I read. It's written by Ayatollah Murtada Mutahiri, and the topic is on acquiring knowledge, the duty of acquiring knowledge. Before I start talking about this book, inshallah, I'm going to just go into a little bit regarding the author. So Ayatollah Murtada Mutahari, he is a very famous scholar, and he's one of the most learned scholars in our Shiite history, especially in contemporary times. He was both a student of Allama Tabatabai and Ayatollah Khomeini, and his main specialization was in the field of fiqh, irfan, and also in philosophy. And he's also considered a shaheed as he was assassinated after the revolution. He is the writer of this particular work that I'm talking about today. So he starts this essay off by quoting a verse from the Quran, which is from quoting a verse from the Quran, which is that say are those who know equal to those who do not know. Only those who possess intellect take admonition. So this verse from the Quran, it's telling us that there is a sense of superiority with those who possess knowledge. And then the Ayatollah Mutahari goes on and he presents a hadith regarding knowledge. And he presents 4 hadith which tie into this topic of the duty of gaining knowledge and its importance. So the first hadith that he presents to us is from the Holy Prophet ﷺ, which is seeking knowledge is obligatory on every Muslim man and woman. Now, what this hadith is telling us that is acquiring knowledge is a duty for everyone in Islam. And it's similar to other duties that we have, like, for example, praying, giving zakat, or going on Hajj and fasting. So knowledge is a duty just like those. It's basically wajib upon every Muslim to gain knowledge. And unlike other religions, other religions also tell their followers to gain knowledge. However, only certain followers or only a certain group of followers from that particular religion will go out and learn, and then it's their duty to give their followers certain laws. However, in Islam, it's different. Every single Muslim, according to this hadith, has the duty of gaining knowledge. And this hadith goes against a popular misconception and propaganda, which is that women in Islam are not, allowed to learn or allowed to go to school. However, in this hadith, it says that every Muslim man and woman should gain knowledge. So it says even women have the duty of gaining knowledge, similar to men. So this hadith is breaking the limitation of gender. It's saying both men and women have to gain knowledge, and it's a responsibility, it's a duty. So another point that Ayatollah Mutahari brings up in this essay is that the process of gaining knowledge is one that is continuous in a person's life. It's a never-ending process. And the hadith that he brings forward for this is from the Holy Prophet ﷺ once again, which is seek knowledge from cradle to grave. So as you can see, this is a process that starts, very early on, at the start of birth, all the way until the last moments of a person's life. And it's a continuous, never-ending process. And so this hadith is removing the idea or the misconception that there's a set age that a person should go out and learn, or there's a time limit or an age limit for gaining knowledge. Rather, anyone at any point in their life can go ahead and begin the pursuit of gaining knowledge. So this hadith is breaking that limitation of time, or breaking the limitation of age when it comes to knowledge. And Muslims should gain true and beneficial knowledge from wherever they can find it. So there is no particular place or particular location that you have to go to gain knowledge. Wherever true knowledge is accessible, you can go and gain that particular knowledge. And this we can find in the prophetic hadith when our Holy Prophet ﷺ says, "Seek knowledge even unto China." So obviously, at the time, uh, the Prophet was obviously in the Middle East within Medina and Mecca, and China is a very, very far distance, even from where we are now. So this hadith is, emphasizing the fact that even if you have to go very far, into an unknown land, into a foreign land, knowledge is still accessible over there, and that as long as it doesn't contradict the teachings of the Ahlul Bayt, that doesn't contradict the teachings of Islam, it's still useful for us. And so what we can see in this hadith is that it's removing the limitation or this misconception that knowledge can only be acquired in a certain place or in a certain location or in a certain land. Rather, wherever true knowledge is available, that's where you can go and access it. So that is another point that Ayatollah Mutahari makes. And he goes on to say that knowledge can be acquired from anyone. However, it should be true and agree with the reality of Islam. So he brings forward a hadith from Prophet Isa alayhi salam, where he says that achieve the truth and accept it, even if from the people of falsehood, but do not take or accept falsehood, even if from the people of truth. So when you hear this hadith, it kind of doesn't make sense, right? It's saying accept the truth even if it's from a person who is even if it's from a person of falsehood, and accept but don't accept falsehood even if it's from a person of truth. So like, how does this make sense? And I'll give you an example of this. So for example, we're learning about something, knowledge regarding the field of biology, for example, right? Now, the person who is teaching that knowledge can be a professor or can be a scientist who is perhaps an atheist, right? So that he is a person of falsehood. He believes in atheism. He doesn't believe in God. However, he is teaching knowledge of biology, which, of course, the biological sciences, the scientific method, that is true. We don't disagree with that. So we will agree with that particular teaching that he is giving us. However, we will not accept the other teachings that we do not agree with. So that's the meaning behind this particular hadith here. So this hadith goes on to remove the limitation that you can only gain knowledge from a certain type of people. So you can gain knowledge, true knowledge, from anyone as long as it doesn't contradict our fundamental beliefs. So from these four hadith that were stated, we can see that limitations are removed from gender, from time or age, limitation of place, and the limitation of people. You can gain knowledge beyond these particular limitations as long as what is being taught to you is true. So then the question comes up, why is gaining knowledge necessary? It's necessary for us, as the Ayatollah explains, because it sets the fundamentals of Islam, and it also provides protection from doubts and error. So if we don't have this basic fundamentals for us to follow, it's very easy for us to get into doubts. It's very easy for us to get into error and perhaps start innovating. A lot of times we see innovations in other sects, in other religions, and I think that really comes from a lack of knowledge, a lack of understanding of the truth that God has given to us through the divine text, through the revealed sources. And the best of those sources is, of course, the Quran, which is given to us. So knowledge also gives us purpose and meaning to our actions, to our daily actions, especially our wajibat, right? Such as prayer. If we don't have an understanding of why we're praying, if we don't have knowledge of, the surahs that we are reciting, the meaning behind each action in prayer, why we are fasting in the month of Ramadan, if we lack this knowledge, then it becomes very dry. It becomes ritualistic. Then you don't have a desire to go ahead and continue with these actions because you're lacking in knowledge. You're lacking in an understanding. So that is also why knowledge is very important, because it gives purpose and meaning to our actions, and it gives purpose and meaning to our religion, which we are following. So this is, as I presented to you, the importance and the duty of acquiring knowledge, taught to us by Ayatollah Murtada Mutahari. And that is my presentation. Thank you.